whole world here.
Ah, yeah, they go.
All right, cool.
That's us, Australia, the whole world.
Right? Absolutely. Well, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. We'll just, go around the room and maybe introduce yourself and give maybe one first impression about the book, and then we'll dig into a couple of things. We're talking about Dan Kennedy's No B.S. Marketing to the Affluent, which we've done. This is actually our third time covering it in our book club, and over the last 15 years. And I think the reason we keep coming back to this book is because it is so relevant and it's so, what is the word? Essential to what we do in aviation. A lot of people come into this industry with misconceptions about people, and a lot of us don't come from an affluent background. I know. Just really quickly, I'm Paula Williams. We run ABCI, which helps aviation companies sell more of their products and services. And I came from a middle-class background, didn't know anything about private or general aviation until I was in my 30s and met John here. And, it was a whole different world of people, circumstances, and everything else. So that's part of the reason that I think this book is so important, so relevant. So, John, you want to go next, and we'll just kind of go in order of appearance, if that's all right?
All right, John Williams, that would be me, and I work for her. I play all the back office stuff, play the part of the CFO, the cyber tech, and anything else, database management, and so forth. I started in aviation when I was 9. I got my hands first on the controls of a DC-3 full of passengers flying around Montana. About a half hour's worth of flight instruction. And got hooked, and I've been here ever since.
It was a different world then.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to do that now and get somebody fired.
Oh, yeah, you can do it now. You couldn't even get into the cockpit. Back then, there was no door.
Hmm. And they used to let little kids come up and see what the pilot was doing. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, very different world. Angel, you want to go next?
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Angel. I work for Paula, and um, I'm hoping to learn more effective strategies, and also curious about how a mindset and positioning contribute to successful marketing, especially for high paying clients.
Gotcha. Thank you. Ali, I think you were next.
Hi, this is Ali, and I work for ABCI as a content editor. Since I also don't have any background, I met with Paula and John, and I've been working with them since 3 years, more than 3 years now. And my previous background is not much relevant with the aviation marketing or aviation, but through Paula and John Williams and providing service to our clients, I gained a lot of knowledge about aviation and aviation marketing as well. And I'm looking forward to learn more and to base on our clients.
Excellent. Thank you. Ben, good to see you. Your cohort is busy, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Hopefully very
yeah,
busy.
yeah. Michael's at AirVenture, so I'm sure he's enjoying himself tremendously. Lucky
Right.
guy.
I know. We're all
But anyway, yeah, I haven't gone. One day I'll have to go, but I haven't gone.
Mhm.
But anyway, no, I'm really interested in the perspective of selling. Well, I'm Ben Nivert. I work for DBT Aero, so I'm the chief of staff. And I've been in aviation all my life, really, since about 15, 14, actually. So, yeah, yeah, been around the planes for a long time, flight instructor, that kind of thing. You guys all know that. So, I'm really interested in just capturing this perspective. As you know, we've put a new product on the market. We're going to be selling a two-place aircraft, and any perspective I can get on the buyers that are likely to purchase that aircraft would be very handy at this point. So, looking forward to the discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So
Um,
in the book, Dan Kennedy defines affluent as basically anybody who is making, I think, over 300,000 a year And of course, the book is a little bit dated, but I think in terms of the aviation industry, we're looking at a completely different order of magnitude of high net worth, ultra high net worth, and there's also now a new term called very high net worth. All of those are kind of Wall Street Journal terms, and using that as the um, kind of a change in definition. But I think the principles are all exactly the same as they were at the time the book was written. It's just the numbers have all changed. I don't know if anybody has any perspectives about that, but I think to buy an airplane and to operate an airplane, uh, you know, there are individuals who do that, and in most cases, it's a corporation or something along those lines, where they're managing the amount of cash that you would need in order to successfully do that. So, I think the biggest airplane that is practically owned by a human being is probably like a Mustang or one of the single pilot jets. Anything larger than that is owned by a corporation generally, even if it is owned by an individual. So it's hard to figure the numbers exactly, but I think they're a lot higher than what he says in the book. John, what do you think? You're the CFO, numbers guy.
Huh. Yeah, I'm quite sure they're a lot higher than we first went to that seminar he gave.
Yeah,
I mean, then back then it was the occasional somebody on the verge of becoming possibly a billionaire. Now there's billionaires everywhere.
right. Exactly. So I guess the current definitions according to the Wall Street Journal is high net worth is 1 million to 5 million, ultra high net worth is 30 million or more, very high net worth is 5 to 30 million. So I got those in the wrong order. It's high net worth, very high net worth, and then ultra high net worth. So those are the categories that we're talking about as far as individuals controlling that amount of money.
Yeah, but I'm telling you,
Uh-huh.
in this country alone, I think there are 250 odd billionaires
Yeah,
persons.
right. And, the interesting thing is what we've been hearing in the news and everything else is that there's kind of and this is a thing that I wanted to bring up today. A lot of people have conceptions about what those people are like and what they're about and everything else. We have a family relative that is of the very strong opinion that you cannot possibly make $1 million without exploiting people, or without doing something dastardly or breaking the law or something along those lines. And I think he's not alone. There are people who feel that way. And so I also think that it's become a thing, at least in the United States, to downplay if you have a lot of money. You don't want people to know about it, necessarily because of those misconceptions and because of those feelings. It used to be an aspirational thing. Everybody could do this if they worked hard and if they provided a service. And, you think about what Microsoft has done for all of us. We wouldn't be here interacting virtually, working with people all across the planet if it was not for Bill Gates. But he's often vilified as a villain. I mean, because he makes decisions that other people wouldn't, or, whatever the situation is.
Well, I think there's a lot of have-nots that are concerned because they're unwilling. And I don't care what they say because when I came up, I didn't know how poor my family was until I got into college and started figuring it out. I thought, wow, I didn't know that growing up, you know?
Yeah. Maybe
But
to you when you're a kid, right?
but yeah, I'm still of the opinion that you can do whatever you want, make as much money as you want if you're willing to pay whatever the cost is.
Mhm.
And the cost won't be in dollars and cents. It may be in time, it may be not getting married, it may be living somewhere where you don't want to do, it may be working 100 hours a week. I mean, those are all costs.
Mhm.
But I know I turned down a job at Microsoft years ago because they wanted 80 hours a week for 5 years,
Mhm.
and you'd walk away $1 million on the back.
Right. So you had that opportunity and decided the cost was too high.
Yep.
Okay. That's cool. That's an interesting perspective, and I think a lot of people have it. You have to be willing to do things that people wouldn't, and there's times in our lives when we would and times in our lives when we wouldn't. When my son was young, I was working 9 to 5 at a job that wasn't paying very much because I needed to be off at 5. No, I mean, I needed to walk out the door, at a certain time, and that was the price I was willing to pay, so that's interesting.
If I'd had that opportunity before I got married,
You would have taken it.
I probably would have gone for it.
Yeah, cool. Great. So let's see. Yeah, I was asking how many there are 813 billionaires in the United States. I love ChatGPT because you can look up these things immediately. It's just like having a great
Well,
producer.
that's even more than the last time I checked.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I know, there are different perspectives worldwide and, different perspectives in different places and so on. And I do know there is a lot of skullduggery and there are a lot of wealthy people who are villains. But I think the assumption is unfair. Um, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, you think all 813 of those guys did something dastardly to make the money? I don't think so.
Right, exactly.
I don't think I'm wearing rose-colored glasses, but nonetheless.
Right. So the United States has 813 billionaires, China has 406, India has 200 plus, Germany, Russia, and the UK have large billionaire populations. And the income inequality is an issue, in places where there is not an opportunity to get from here to here. There's a big gap and there's no bridge. I think it is something that needs to be worked on because I do think everybody should have the opportunity. But like,
Well, it does. And I would argue that the reason there's so many billionaires now is because of the devaluation of the dollar,
mm, mhm,
because of inflation. I mean, you keep the revenue stream coming in, the dollars go up, but nothing, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, if you go back 10 years, a billionaire would be worth maybe 100 million.
mhm,
And to go back 10 years before, and they wouldn't even be a millionaire.
right,
I mean, if you go back and look at inflation, but this is a result of me having an economics minor. But
heaven
I
forbid.
can tell you that the inflation, which is devaluation of the dollar, has caused a lot of billionaires.
Right, right. Um, okay, so I guess the question for us as marketers is how do we get in touch with these people and how do we talk to these people and how are they different from the rest of us, right?
And I submit that they put their pants on the same way I do every morning. One leg, then the other one, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're a whole lot different than it's just like my son said, because he's getting ready to join that crowd, I think. And he said, "But Dad, I didn't do anything." I said, "I just met the right person. That was nice." I said, "Well, there you go."
Yeah. Um, and a lot of our clients work with billionaires every day, and a lot of our clients are in that category as well. So I think what I've learned over the years is basically if money isn't the limiting factor, time becomes the limiting factor. So what is the most important thing to them? It's not the money; it's the time. So if you can save them time, that becomes the most valuable currency in that relationship.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
so I think everybody has their limitations. A lot of the folks that I know that are in this category have families, they have illnesses in their families, they have all of the same problems as the rest of us do, and they're just looking for opportunities to maximize their time so that they can spend it, with their ailing parents or with their kids. Some of them have special needs kids. I mean, they have all the same problems that the rest of us do. It's just a question of what is the limiting factor, and for them, it's usually time rather than money. Um,
yeah.
and
People don't recognize opportunities as much as they should.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're never going to make it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are in a chain. If you're a millionaire
Hmm.
and you don't recognize opportunity when it hits you in the face, you're not going to go the next step.
Right. And I'd love to hear from other people on the call. I know, there's kind of an ethos in the United States where, they used to call it the American dream. In the 50s and 60s, it was very much part of the culture that anybody can become somebody in one of these classes, and it's just a matter of working hard and making that happen. I don't know that that's as prevalent today as it was in the 50s and 60s, but it is still there. I'd love to hear about how it is in other places in the world and how people feel about the income differences and disparities and aspirations and other things like that, if that's part of the culture in other places as much as it is here.
Yes, in Pakistan, people love to have a lot of luxuries income as well. But from the aviation marketing side, I can see that people, you can say clients, not only looking for the services, they are looking on the confidence from our side as well.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, that they have a couple of their responsibilities among the family, just like we have a normal routine day. We have child or six, going to schools, making groceries, etc. So, clients have this similar situation as well. But in terms of aviation marketing, I really believe that they really need our confidence, that they put our trust in our shoulder and giving us a go ahead that, okay, uh, post this blog on our website or do this social media on our behalf. We trust you, whatever the result will be. So
Yeah.
confidence is the most important part in this scenario. And coming up to your next question, that what people are thinking across the globe, particularly in Pakistan, right now the inflation is very high, as John mentioned that the scenarios is not really good overall the world. And what the millionaire means 10 years ago is that $100 million, it's okay for $1 million if a person is, you can say, getting a healthy salary or doing a business. So right now, a person is looking for $10 million, then he realized that, okay, I've become a billionaire right now. So it's 10 times higher cost right now. As you mentioned, it's coming from this to this. It's too much difference right now. So if I'm talking about particularly myself, if I was able to manage my, you can say, electricity bill past 2 to 3 years, it was around $100. Nowadays, it's 400 plus dollars. So it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
I have to do the efforts like this. So if I have to, you can say, manage my utility, I have to work hard, just like John mentioned, I have to work hard or accept the tough job offers that require 80 hours, 90 hours, or 150 hours because I have to manage my utilities. So same way business, or you can say not relying on one income streams. Just now in Pakistan, people, investors and business owners usually depend on the real estate. But and the recent inflation hit them very hard. Now they are shifting their focus towards the digital economy. Just you heard about the, I think so, Pakistan, we are going to be launching a Bitcoin, some sort of, you can say,
Yeah.
currency or something like that. So technology and people and investors and billionaires' minds are become changing. They are not relying on one income stream or one business. They are, you can say, focusing on multiple streams and digging more that how become we can say able to get a $10 billion or $10 million in a year to, you can say, sustain our, you can say, family or the other activities. So I totally agree with this.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, it is. Numbers don't matter as much as the buying power, the actual number of whatever's, currency that you have, don't matter as much as the buying power of those things. So there is a lot of fluctuation. I think in some places in the world more than others, but all of the entire world, has the fluctuation and all of that. And people that are worth a lot of money now won't be tomorrow, or vice versa. It's a very fluid situation.
I came across, sorry to interrupt you, I just
Go
want
ahead.
another point to share. I just come across to meet guys who run the Amazon agencies. They are, because they're selling different products. he mentioned me right 2 days back that he was earning $500, $5 million per month. Now he is earning 2.5, $2 million per month. There is a huge difference right now. So people are not relying on the digital products, or you can say online shopping.
Yeah.
You can say buying purchase is now reduced, as you mentioned. They are not focusing to do the online shopping, and there you can say budget or their pockets are not too much heavy to carry the burden of the purchasing online. You can say stuff. So this scenario happened, as you mentioned, around the world in every corner of the business, not only in aviation, not only in Amazon, but every sector hit it very hard. So now people are doing. I asked him that, okay, since now you have, you can say, have sales, reduced sales in your, you can say, Amazon agency. What are your plans for next move to, you can say, earn $5 million per month or a year? So you mentioned you can say digging out, or you can say exploring some other ideas parallel to see that if I can sustain my current, you can say, agency with the other agency as well, because I don't think so that it will be, you can say, coming on the same income level what we are seeing the trending in the whole world. So I'm, you can say, thinking and you can say planning a parallel business model so that I can, you can say, use the similar strategies and you can say grow more.
Oh, smart. Yeah. I think every person that I know that's in this category has more than one income stream, or at least has hedged their bets in a lot of ways, so that they're making money from more than one source. A lot of people will say that, hey, ABCI is insane because they're only working in aviation. You should be diversifying into medicine and all these other things to make it safer. But I think there's plenty of diversity within the aviation industry that, really give us that security. But I do agree that having multiple streams of income and multiple businesses and multiple investments is a really smart thing that we've learned from our more wealthy compatriots, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And the other point is that uh, you can say that people are not, you can say, having the, you can say, strategies right now. They are more reluctant and more waiting to see that what's coming towards them.
Yeah.
And the other point is that if I am an aviation marketing specialist or a strategist or a social media content team leader, so many people in our industry claim that I am a aviation marketing strategist, but they don't have so much specialties. They don't have so much background on that. It's easy to claim, but it's difficult to deliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many people around the industry are claiming, okay, I can do this, I can do SEO, I can do this results. But the fact is that a real and general experienced people who have the larger experience in this, and they are very small. So I think so the experience is matter more, so that our client, you can say, have the confidence on ourselves that, okay, we are paying some service model and we are getting so much results, not only claiming in the website or in case of social media, we can do this, we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Absolutely. And I think, that's one of the key things about finding and working with high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals is, I mean, in the book, they talk about the gated community. If you imagine that you are a door-to-door salesperson, and for some reason you are able to get into a gated community of very wealthy people, inside of a gated community, everybody's doors are unlocked. So once you get into that gated community and you get the trust of one high net worth or ultra high net worth individual that happens to be very connected, they introduce you to others. And, it becomes a lot easier to do that. And I think, that's part of the glorious thing, I guess, about being part of the aviation industry is that everybody knows everybody. It is like that gated community where one person will refer us to another, or if they hear that we've been working with one of their compatriots, they feel like we are a lot more trustworthy than they would be otherwise. So, people tend to trust people that are like themselves, and so I think that really helps us with that metaphor. I love that metaphor from the book. Um, Angel, what about the Philippines? How are things there? Is that like a cultural phenomenon, or how do people feel about money in the Philippines? Is that a cultural phenomenon that you've seen?
Yeah, the Philippines is struggling financially,
Yeah.
and many people face real economic challenges, like almost everyone. But despite that, aspirations remain strong and deeply rooted in our culture. That even though we have there's a lot of income gaps and diverse living conditions across regions, Filipinos continue to prioritize things that reflect the status and ambition. Like, even though we are not that rich, we send our children to private schools for better education, like that, and also give them some things that will reflect them. And it's common for families to stretch their budget, really, just to send their children to well-known private schools to purchase items that symbolize progress and success. And yeah, this reflects our shared cultural values around appearance, reputation, and upward mobility. So marketers here can't just really sell directly luxury goods. They need to connect onto deeper motivation, like um social proof or legacy or pride, something like that.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. And I think that
Basically, what you're saying is
Mhm,
you prioritize things besides the number of dollars you have.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do that, and there's a conscious consumption, and then there is or a conspicuous consumption, I think is the term. And that's often among the high middle class, and then when you get into the ultra high net worth or high net worth, people tend to stop using the brand name handbags and the brand name things and so forth because they don't want necessarily people to know. Steve Jobs was famous for making, uh, you know, uh, the clothing, very democratized. He would wear jeans and t-shirts. And, a lot of times if you are I mean, I'm sure Michael is at AirVenture right now, and a lot of our clients are at AirVenture and other trade shows and things like that. People are dressing down at those things. They're not wearing the beautiful Italian suits and other things that you used to see at NBAA and so on. So you can't make assumptions about people's financial situation by what they wear or what they drive or any of those things. Warren Buffett very famously drives a middle class car and lives in a middle class house and wears middle class clothes and all those things. And I think that's becoming more of a factor. So it's we need to do other things to qualify clients, to see if they are in the category where and usually it's just asking them directly, what is your budget situation? Is this something that would make sense for you, or would this be more in your bracket? And there are ways to do that that's not obnoxious or insulting or anything like that, but just, where are we and which category are we talking about? And I think most people respond pretty well to that. Ben, you've had a lot of experience internationally. I don't know if differences between Australia and the United States or anything like that that you noticed?
Yeah, there's some. There's definitely not a overt wealth
Yeah,
community. They're pretty low key. I
right.
mean, they have the Murdochs, they have the few wealthy
Mhm.
that, but they're not. They don't see that the way the Americans do. They really do. They don't. They don't think they should get any special privileges and don't treat them,
Yeah.
and often get mad when they get special privileges.
Oh,
Money that shouldn't buy you
more
um,
respect.
more. Well, not more different treatment.
Yeah.
They're a lot more equalitarian, if you will, egalitarian.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's but yeah, well, they have a good social network. They have a really good social safety network here. So they don't, generally speaking, they try and make sure that the bottom doesn't fall out.
Yeah.
That everybody has an opportunity,
Yeah.
to survive.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty good social safety network. So they
Smart.
protect the bottom.
Mhm.
But they don't have much of an upper class. I don't think you'll see.
Mhm.
But homes here are very expensive, so
Mhm.
and it's very almost that's their primary investment scheme.
Mhm. It's
Most people invest and have several homes, so
right.
that's their wealth. Their wealth is in their homes,
Gotcha.
and what they have is investment properties. So they'll have a house and then 2 or 3 investment properties.
Mhm. Smart. Ali, you had something else to add to that?
Yes, the term you use, that upper class and the middle class and lower middle class, you usually mention that upper class. In Pakistan, we categorize them in three categories: upper class, middle class, lower middle class. Right now, what is happening in Pakistan is we don't have a middle class. We have only two class: upper class and middle class. Upper
Yeah.
class is the one who can afford everything. As Michael mentioned, we have a massive investment in real estate, but the prices are too much. I cannot afford it right now. The
Yeah.
other thing is that government is not planning to, you can say, provide us some, you can say, relief in terms of education, health, and other sectors. Everything is privatized in Pakistan in terms of education, health, and other facilities. So my child should be going to a government school. I myself, you can say, studies in a government school, government college. But right now, there is a no any good quality of education here, so that I can say, enroll my child to, you can say, pursue a good education or best level. So I have to pay in the private institution, and they are in, you can say, you can say, uh, competition. They are in a, you can say, terms of looting the common people. Their each school price or monthly fees subscription is too much high.
Yeah.
Just like we have three models: one is China, one is USA, one is Pakistan. Now USA is very much costly. China is, you can say, duplicate copy. In Pakistan, you have to pay nothing and you will get something. So this is something like that. So everything is privatized, and I don't appreciate this at all, because we should be getting some facilities in terms of basic, you can say, facilities, which is a common people need, and which is education, health, and utilities and other supports. So this
Right.
is really very bad scenario.
Right. Understood. That makes absolute sense. And I think, that's happening across the board, that the middle class is disappearing. That's been a phenomenon, I think, in the United States for the last 10, 15 years, where, the stores, restaurants, other things, there is um, a lower class and then there's an upper class. And um, there's not much in the middle. And a lot of the things in the middle, or the services that served the middle, are going away. The J.C. Penney's are closing and so forth, but the really high end department stores and things like that are thriving, and the really low end department stores like the Walmarts are thriving. So the middle is kind of going away. But that's an interesting, what it means for us, I think, in aviation is that there's more opportunity as the class of billionaires grows. There's a lot of people who are making money in real estate and in software and in other things that don't come from a culture of high net worth and ultra high net worth people. So, they grew up middle class, they grew up like us, and now they have the disposable income to fly private and to, take advantage of a lot of these things. And some of the traditional services and, Ben, for your business and things like that, a lot of people would never have considered buying an airplane that now are, or, maybe would consider the DBT because it is a great way to get where they want to go. So our challenge is to meet them where they are, which is not, the private school, the ultra high net worth, the Boston Brahmins, the whole nine yards. It's to find those folks, the software guys, the um, real estate folks, those other markets where there's new money, and make them feel comfortable with this because they're not from this culture, same as we aren't. So I think that's really a great opportunity for us because we have the same background as a lot of the people who are, come into money in the last 10, 15 years. I know Magjet, Chris and Miguel, they're meeting a lot of folks who are sports figures and other folks who come from middle class and even lower class backgrounds who are now able to fly private and things, and they don't want to be made to feel silly because they don't know all of the unwritten rules of this culture. So I think by being welcoming to everyone and by making that an open door, we can really kick open that gated community that used to be very exclusive, and say, you know what, we are not um, like that. We're not like the other charter companies. We don't expect you to understand all of the laws and rules. We'll tell you, where to drive in. We'll tell you where to unload your bags. We'll tell you all of the things that you need to know, so you don't feel silly on this end of the airport where you've never been before. And you're worried about what other people are going to think and things like that because you're not doing things right or whatever. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there for people who are willing to be open-minded to people who have um, not come from this kind of a background, which is helpful to us because we didn't come from this kind of a background. So we have an affinity, I guess, for making people feel welcome. And people are just people, so that really helps a lot. I do know, from what I've heard, well, from the traditional end of this, which is quite a bit. Many of our clients work with people who are from the old money and from that culture. A lot of them protect themselves very well. So that's a phenomenon, the gatekeeper, that is talked about in the book quite a bit. Most high net worth and ultra high net worth people have a very well protected environment. So it's very difficult to get past their gatekeeper unless you do something that's personal or very custom to them. These are not people that you can spam. These are not people that you can use an AI bot to to prospect or anything else, because their gatekeepers take care of a lot of these things for them, their emails, their phone, their other means of communication. So we need to get past that. And I think it's really smart the way that some of our clients have done that by finding out, what their passions are and getting involved in those. So, if they have um, Formula One car or something like that, and then they have a fan page for their Formula One car, or whatever their passion is, getting involved in that, and then finding a back door that they have in common. So one of our clients is also a car guy, and he loves automobiles, and he loves people that love automobiles, and some of his clients happen to also be car people. He speaks the language, and that's something that he's not going to defer to a gatekeeper, because he wants to talk about that stuff and loves talking to an aficionado. So it's genuine.
Need to box.
Sorry?
Need to think out of the box.
Think out of the box. Exactly.
Remember Kennedy when he gave us that first seminar way back.
Yeah, that was like the early 2000s, right?
I don't know, whatever.
Mhm.
He told us of an individual
Mhm.
that he could probably sell to. And he kept sending him stuff and sending him stuff. And it didn't work.
Mhm.
So he thought about it and he sent them a trash can,
Mhm.
a metal trash can, full size. And inside it or on it or around it somehow, I said, well, since you're actually throwing away everything I send you, I thought I'd give you this.
Trash can.
And he ended up selling to him.
Right. Well, what he knew about the guy is that he did have a good sense of humor. And he figured, that this is why the top 10 strategy works so much better than a shotgun or a dragnet or a spamming prospecting strategy when you're working with high net worth and ultra high net worth people, because you can find out these things about them. And so he found out the guy has a good sense of humor, used a courier to send him a big galvanized metal shiny new trash can, with his marketing materials. And if you are working on a top 10 and you're selling a product that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can afford to send a trash can. So I think that was a brilliant, very creative strategy. He ended up getting the meeting. I don't know if he sold the product or not, but he did get the meeting, which was what his next objective was. So that was a good story.
And another good one is on the post sale.
Hmm.
Is that we had a client that when they sold an airplane,
Hmm.
they knew then what the folks liked as far as if they were hunters, and
Hmm.
he'd put several $1,000s on a hunting rifle, the best he could get, and sent it to the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if somebody's buying a multi-million-dollar airplane from you, and I think it was an engraved, customized hunting rifle that he bought for this guy, and so it was clearly something that he knew would be appreciated and things, and, that's one of our, aircraft management clients that also not only helped him purchase the aircraft, but managed it for him, so he's making, um, a pretty good income from managing this person's aircraft. So you can spend a couple $1,000s on a gift for somebody that is, providing that kind of value for you, especially if you know that this is gonna be appreciated, and especially if you know that this is gonna really kinda help cement the relationship. And it's more than the value of the gift, it was the thought behind it, I think, that really made the difference there. So
Yeah.
right. That's a master gift giver. I won't mention who he is but, he's one of our clients, and we admire um his sleuthing. He really plays the Sherlock Holmes about, finding out what his clients would really like, and a lot of that is just listening. He spends a lot of time talking to these people and listening to what they do and what they say, and then he turns that around and, takes really good care of them and their families and, makes that a rock solid relationship, and people never leave once they, get into his organization. I think that's really what people all want, whether they're, whatever income level they're at, is a relationship where somebody knows them and has that consideration for them and their families and, is willing to listen and actually have a relationship as opposed to just a transaction. So, that's not having to do with affluence or anything else. That's just humanity, right?
Well, remember Kennedy said the first thing you do is to make a friend,
Yeah,
then you make the sale.
right. Yep, exactly. So, and then how do you get into, how do you break through, I guess, to make the sale? And, as you said, sometimes that requires a little creativity. And I think that's why the top 10 strategy works 1,000 times better than the dragnet or any other strategic idea. Ali, you've been doing a top 10 strategy for a few months. How do you feel about that? I know it's really hard to research people if all you've got is what's online, but you've developed a few tactics and things.
Yes, I totally rely on the human tactics more than AI. I used the LinkedIn strategies and the Mailchimp strategies and the people who are visiting our website. And one of the key factors is that people don't have too much time and they don't, as you mentioned, that we should not be spamming them and etc. So they really like the real conversation, real people behind the message, and simple messages really work well. And the eight strategy process, what we have, you can say updated in our course, that really you can say run the conversation or at least start the conversation. Since last 3 months, what I've been doing in what I mean is actually giving us the results. And whoever will be purchasing or you can say following these steps will be having at least a conversation started. And it's depend on your strategies and your mindset and skills that how you are going to convert your a conversation into sales. Just like one of our prospect from the Malaysia, he shared me his you can say mobile number And I was doing a prospecting for my course, but he asked me that, what about the marketing services? Oh, I was shocked. Okay, I said, okay, I'm doing the both. Whatever you are willing to, I will go for a free schedule a free consultation for you. He said, okay, let's plan it. But the thing is that I am too much busy. I have to do it on my own scale. I appreciate him and said, okay, that's totally fine. Whatever time is suitable for you, I'm ready. Either it's a middle night, either it's a morning, because I have to, you can say, provide you some value addition. If I'm claiming something, I have to be, you can say, be flexible. So
Yeah.
he really appreciated me. And the other client, which is having, you can say, local commitments like events happening in the state or province or in any particular country, they said, we are very busy right now, but we are appreciating your, you can say, messages. Sometime it's going to be in our gent box or spamming as well. But when we turn into these boxes, we see that there is a real human who is continuously following up and giving us some, you can say, direction as well. And they really appreciate me. And other thing is that the thing we are claiming in a two-step process or updated course is that make it a simple follow up through the LinkedIn, MailChimp as well, and start conversation. Do not rush to, you can say that, okay, I'm here to, you can say, sell you some marketing service or software or etc.
Mhm.
Just start building a relationship that, okay, whatever the result will be, we will be a good friend, good industry, you can say, fellow as well. That will be really helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. And I know that's it's frustrating, especially in a world where everybody's saying, you should be sending 100 emails a day or, some crazy thing like that. But nobody appreciates being one of 100. They can appreciate being one of 10 that you're pursuing because it feels different. And, it's a different level of customization and a different level of service. Couple of utilities or resources I want to mention in here. There is a utility by somebody who is also in the Dan Kennedy marketing group that we belong to, where he runs a service called Contact Any Celebrity, where you can look up. It's a database basically where you can look up different celebrities by the causes and the interests that they have. So if you're looking for somebody in aviation, they'll tell you, here are all of the celebrities that have pilot ratings and that own aircraft or, have different things about them that make us think that they would be a good fit for us. And then you can really tailor a pitch to that person. So that's a service that costs I think a couple $100 a month, but it's worth it if you're in the middle of something or if you are wanting a spokesperson that is a celebrity and that you want to align with your cause. Um, there are a couple of others. Wealth Navigator, is a good resource as well. Ali, you had something to add?
Yes, one thing I learned more, it's, you can say, recognized by one of our prospects that what we are, I can say, saying in our personal LinkedIn profile or our company profile, it should be relevant what we are selling to. Sometimes we people profiles or company pages saying something or they don't have any updates on their company page, but they are saying that we are selling something.
Mhm.
So what prospective you are, you can see looking to, they first go to your LinkedIn profile, company pages as well, that what are you doing right now and how many people and who are people interacting with you. Are these are, you can say, relevant what you are saying, what you are sending message through emails or LinkedIn DMs. So it should be relevant, not that I'm saying that I will be doing simple marketing and selling aviation marketing. There will be, you can say, conflicts between that.
Yeah.
Be updated on your LinkedIn profile really matters a lot because your prospecting are going to find you or search you through your company pages or your personal pages as well.
Yeah, exactly. It has to match and it has to be congruent and it has to pass the BS test. Because if you go to somebody's LinkedIn, somebody's trying to sell me, in fact, I had someone try to sell me AI services, who said, I can make AI bots that will help with your marketing, and those kinds of things. And I looked at his LinkedIn profile and it was all about cryptocurrency, so instantly I'm like, clearly this is somebody who is not really dedicated to creating AI bots for marketing. This is somebody who's just throwing different things out there to see what sticks. He's not really focused on the thing that he's selling. And that makes a huge difference. So, all right, we've got about 10 minutes left. Let's just go around the room and everybody, if you wouldn't mind sharing maybe one thing that you learned today that you didn't know before, or any one insight that you wanted to share about working with affluent individuals, or those kinds of things. And I've already shared enough, so we'll pass the baton to John and go in order of appearance if you don't mind.
Well, it was nice to rehash some of what Kennedy has told us. And we were actually in Kennedy's first place that we went. You were on the hot seat.
Oh, that was a horrible experience. Actually, it was a great experience, but
It was. But it's nice to rehash some of this stuff.
Great. Do you wanna tell the story real quick, or do you want me to? Or
Go ahead.
um, so they have a thing called a hot seat, and this is something we might wanna consider for our clients or for our group office hours or something like that at some point in the future. But, basically, if you have a business problem, you can present it to the group, and then everybody tears you apart, And the great thing is you get a lot of different solutions, but the horrible thing is that you have to sit there and listen to some things that you may not want to hear. And so this was early in our company, and my grand idea was to be the first all digital aviation marketing company. And, so I laid out this brilliance, to this whole group of people, thinking it was so clever and so ahead of my time and all of these things. And, the response that I got back from, especially from Dan Kennedy himself, was, "This is gonna fail. You have absolutely 0 chance of succeeding. You are trying to sell something that people don't know they need yet. It's not gonna work. You cannot do this. You're gonna have to change your business model, or you're gonna have to change your market." Um, they don't know they want digital marketing. They don't know they need digital marketing. Even if they do need digital marketing, they're not convinced of it yet. And you, Miss 30-something-year-old, newcomer to the industry, are not the person who's gonna do it. You need to tell them what they want. So you need to sell traditional marketing in the way that they are comfortable with, earn their trust, and then you can get to the point where you can sell them digital marketing. That's changed a little bit over the years, but, he was absolutely correct, but I sure didn't wanna hear it at the time. So anyway, that's the story about, the hot seat, and, yeah, how he ruined my life and destroyed my dreams.
Well, you tried to, but the appearance was that you sat there and took it and told them BS.
Well, he was right, and we did adjust, so, and I'm glad we did, but it did take some time to, assimilate the message and get over 'em and adjust appropriately. So, anyway, yeah, carrying on, Angel, I think you were next, so
Yeah, today's discussion really helped me to see how important it is to understand the values and behaviors of clients, especially the um, wealthier ones. And I learned how to your confidence really make a real difference,
Mhm.
especially in shifting how you present yourself to the clients, and on what you really want to offer.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to go because the battery's dying in this machine.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, and, we'll just, yeah, Ali and then Ben, if you wouldn't mind, sharing one thing, and then we'll get off and go on with our day, so
Yes. My one insight that don't just say the service, show the changes it creates. That's what high value clients remember always.
Yeah,
And the simple words bring some value, bring some transformation, what the clients always value and put you in their first and say priority.
yeah. Great, thank you. Excellent. Ben, any insights you wanted to share, or anything you
It just reminds me that you have to be mindful of the other side. I thought that was an interesting nobody wants to be the other side of 100 emails a day.
Right.
Yeah, and it's true. You do. You get these spams and you immediately devalue them. It's like, yeah, this is just somebody sent out some mass marketing campaign and doesn't apply to me. And that idea of making a friend versus, a relationship first, I think that was quite, it just reminds me of these things.
Yeah. Nothing you didn't already know, but
Well, I don't know if I knew it, but it is good to keep reminding yourself. I had a couple of really interesting conversations here recently to see how it goes in the future. But yeah, especially here, it's a much smaller community.
Mhm.
It's easier to meet somebody, and I think they're a little weary when you first kind of what they call rock up when you first show up. But I think that there's a real opportunity where especially in the US at the moment, it's harder. People, I think, it's harder to develop a relationship with somebody, but most of the relationships come through other activities.
Yeah.
You meet them socially, you get to know them, and they're much more open to talk about. I mean, I used to swim with a group. I swam with them for, 20 years and they're all friends.
Yeah.
You just develop that friendship. When I first started swimming there, you really didn't talk to them.
Ah, okay. So it took a while to warm up.
Yeah, yeah, they were all pretty senior people, mm, and so once you got to know them, it was very interesting. But I think they were there to swim, so the last thing they wanted to do is to have someone market to them when
Oh, yeah.
they're there to swim. So, but I think once you got to know them, it was really interesting. It is really interesting. So we'll see. But
Yeah.
yes, I think that's mindful, develop that friendship, mindful of how they see you. That was a good reminder.
Yeah, tiny steps. I know there's a group that we hike with, and we see them practically every week because we hike in the same time and place. But we didn't know them really well until we had an opportunity to help someone that had um, basically they got cold. They got their gloves wet and they
Right.
got cold, and we happened to have some hot packs and things, and got to know them a little bit and. Years later, we're really good friends and things, but some opportunity to break the ice, and then over time, I guess the big thing that Ali mentioned, and you as well, don't be in a hurry, to
Yeah.
relationship and those kinds of things, because these things take years often to develop trust.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And through some sort of independent passion.
Yeah, and common interest and all of that.
Common passion. Right. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, you guys.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed this, and I'm, like I said, this is one of my favorite books. I read this every couple of years because it's one of those that we need to keep reminding ourselves of. So, but yeah, you guys have a great afternoon, and I look forward to our next one, which is going to be Atomic Habits. And that's also one I've never read before, but it's become one of my favorites just in the amount of time I've been reading it. So,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye-bye.